Today's story is The Children of Lir, and it's traditional Irish folk tale, I guess. And yeah, there is an introduction to go with it. It says, the fate of the Children of Lir is one of Ireland's most famous and popular legends. The story is closely associated with Loch Derrvara in County, I think. Westmeath? I'm not sure. Based in ancient Ireland, this tale is part of a saga that is generally called the Three Sorrows of Storytelling. The other two stories are The Exile of the Children of Isne and The Fate of the Children of Terran. It is an ancient tale of good and evil with a few magical twists. Read on to find out about the fate of the Children of Lir. Lir and Earp. Legend has it that many years ago, the Tuatha De Danann were one of the first tribes of people to live in Ireland. They were skilled in the use of magic. When the time came for them to select a new king, a nobleman called Bod Derek was chosen. Lir had been the other main candidate and was very angry because he felt he deserved it more. But Bod respected Lir and did not want them to be enemies. To ensure Lir's friendship, he offered him the choice of any one of his 3 beautiful daughters as a wife. Lir thought they were all stunningly beautiful, but decided to choose the eldest because he felt she was the most noble of the 3. Her name was Earp. Together they went home happily to Lir's castle that night. So apparently I'm starting to pronounce random words in weird ways. Okay. Lir and Earp fell very much in love. Soon Earp gave birth to a daughter and a son, called Fionnuala and Is. They were both beautiful children, and anyone who saw them could not help but fall in love with them. A few years passed, and Earp gave birth to 2 more sons, called Fiacha and Con. They were as good-natured and handsome as their older brother and sister. However, poor Earp never lived to see her youngest boys. During their birth, she passed away tragically. Lir was heartbroken. Now Lir and his 4 children were left to look after one another. It was only the love of his children that helped him to survive the death of his dear wife. After a while, he thought it would be better for the family if he found a new wife. Bod Derek took pity on Lir once again and offered him Earp's sister Aoife in marriage. At first, Aoife enjoyed the company of Lir and the children very much, and the family began to recover their spirits. However, as the children grew older, they became famous for their beauty and were beloved by all the Tuatha De Danann. Lir's devotion to his children also awoke a resentment in Aoife. She was torn apart by jealousy of the children and guilt about her sister's death. An evil touched her heart and turned Aoife against the children. She hatched a plan to get rid of them so that she could have Lir all to herself. She concocted a terrible spell that would remove the children of Lir from her life forever. Loch Derrvara. A morning came when Lir was out hunting. Aoife took the chance to take the children out in her chariot. She told them they were going to visit their grandfather, Bod Derek. The previous night, Fionnuala had seen in a dream that Aoife was planning something evil. She was very worried about going, but she had no choice in the matter. Stopping at Loch Derwag, Aoife led the children to the water to bathe. As soon as they were out in the lake swimming, she unleashed a wand and struck them with a magic spell, saying, "Out with you, children of the king! Your luck is taken away from you forever. It is sorrowful the story will be to your friends. It is with flocks of birds your cries will be heard forever." And with that they changed immediately into 4 beautiful swans. But even as swans, the children could still sing better than any human. They called out in harmony, "Oh, what have you done to us, witch? It is a bad deed. When will we be free?" Aoife replied, "I have put a spell on you. Now everything you have will be mine. You will be swans for 900 years. 300 here will be spent at this lake. A further 300 on the Sea of Mull, and 300 more on the Bay of Erith." With her terrible deed complete, Aoife went to her father, Bod Derek's house. He was surprised to see her without his dear grandchildren, who he had been looking forward to seeing so much. Aoife lied to her father, telling him that Lir had kept the children at home. But Derek suspected trickery in his daughter's voice, so he sent his messenger to Lir to find out the truth. When Lir heard the lie, he knew that something terrible had happened. He immediately set off for Bod Derek's castle in his chariot. Charging along past Loch Derwag, he was suddenly halted by the purest, most enchanting, saddest song he had ever heard. Spellbound, he stopped the chariot at the bank. The swans were at the lake waiting for Lir. Fionnuala looked up at him from the water with her swan eyes and told him the truth. Lir spent the night at the bank with his children, crying and listening to their songs. The next day, Lir continued on to Bod Derek's house in desperate grief. He found Aoife there and told her father of her treachery. Enraged, Bod Derek put a spell on her, turning her into a witch of the air. The second he waved his wand, she blew away with the wind, never to be seen again. Once Aoife's spell was cast, the children of Lir were destined to spend 300 years trapped on Lake Derwag. However, things were not so bad there. Every day they were visited by family and friends. The people of the Tuatha De Danann loved the swans and came from near and far to hear their enchanting song, which lifted the spirits of all who heard it. In this way, the first 300 years passed fairly contentedly. However, the time came when the swans had to leave to fulfill the next stage of the spell. They were now destined to spend 300 years in the Sea of Mull, a fierce cold stretch of sea between Ireland and Scotland. Fionnuala, Aoife and Con said farewell to the Tuatha De Danann and made for the icy Sea of Mull. There was great sadness in their hearts, as they feared they would not see their people again. A sadness covered the whole of Ireland when it was heard these 4 beautiful swans were going to the harsh, bitter Sea of Mull. As a result, there was a decree that no swans should be killed from that day on throughout the whole of Ireland, on pain of severe penalty. In the daytime, the swans could stay on the banks of the Sea of Mull in Ireland and Scotland, but when night fell, they were forced to return to the sea. They endured many terrible nights, often becoming separated in the chaos of the icy storms. Between the hard rocks and heavy waves, Fionnuala, Is, Fiacha and Con endured 300 slow years until the time came to move on once more. The Swan's final destiny was the Bay of Erris, close to the land of the Tuatha De Danann, where they had lived as children. On their way to Erris, they passed over their old house. It had changed so much that they barely recognized it. Their father's old castle was in ruins and the landscape was overgrown. The lives they had known as children were gone. Trapped in swans' bodies with no one in familiar faces but one another's, the last 300 years was a lonely time for the children of Lir. However, in Erris at least, it was warmer than the Sea of Moll and they had plenty of food. The swans lived at Erris for many years until a holy man called Mocha came to see them. He was a disciple of St. Patrick and had a good heart. The fame of the children of Lir had spread and Mocha was interested in their story. He became their friend and stayed with them in the daytime. Together they would sing and pray until the time came when the swans went back to the bay to sleep. Time passed like this until the fateful day when the swans were released from the spell. All of a sudden the 4 birds transformed back into people. 900 years had passed, and the children of Lir were no longer children. They were now so old that they had little time left to live. In accordance to their wishes, Mocha baptized Fionnuala, Is, Fiacha and Con. Not long afterwards they all passed away at the same time. They were led to rest together to rejoin their father and mother in heaven. That was the Children of Lir. I hope you enjoyed the story.